Ladies and gentlemen, this video is going to be a follow-up on the Last of Us Part 2 critique video I made last year. In that video, I had the general idea that Last of Us Part 2 was supposed to be a masterpiece but wasn't due to a lot of bad actors. In that video, I mainly talked about the interior of a lot of things, but in this video, we are going to delve deeper into the exterior of a lot of things. Although before we start this video will contain spoilers, so you have been warned. So firstly, the expectations for Last of Us Part 2 were really high coming off of Uncharted 4 and Last of Us Part 1. In many ways, Last of Us Part 2 did exceed those expectations. And in many ways, it did not, especially how the writing was stitched together. The Last of Us Part 2 is a game that has pretty much divided the entire fan base. You will see people that love the first game, you will see people that love Uncharted 1, 2, 3, and even 4, but then you will see people that are divided upon Last of Us Part 2. So when we track the footprints of why Last of Us Part 2 has divided the fan base, we come to one actor, Neil Druckmann. See, the first game was directed by Bruce Starley. He mainly overseed the creative vision of the game. The thing is that he kept Neil Druckmann in control. See, Neil Druckmann is a person that has some great ideas, but he needs someone to keep his bad ideas in check. Everything was going good until Uncharted 4, in which the team had massive crunches, which made most of the original Naughty Dog crew to leave, including Bruce Starley. After that, Neil Druckmann was given full creative control and became the vice president of Naughty Dog. See, this is the point we start seeing cracks, especially with Uncharted Lost Legacy, which came a year later after Uncharted 4. Fans started noticing that some developers behind Lost Legacy started sharing some art with Chloe and Nadine, the main protagonists of Uncharted Lost Legacy, in a intimate light, something around that. This obviously came as a shock to many fans because Chloe was depicted as a character, let's say, straight, especially in Uncharted 2 because she was kind of flirty around Nathan Drake and everyone else. Although do keep in mind that this was just art being shared by developers, there wasn't anything pretty much like this in Lost Legacy, if I remember correctly. But cracks definitely started to show because most of the crew was gone. Then there was the controversy with the actor behind Lev in Last of Us Part 2. See, the actor behind Lev and Alexander were a trans person in real life, and they were picked to faithfully play a trans person in game. But the problem is that back in 2017 they had made a lot of racist tweets, and let's say if the actor behind Joel, Troy Baker, made the same tweets, I bet they would be cancelled and would be fired. Bit of a double standards there, but it is what it is. Alright, now with the writing, I think the writing is okay, but I think the way it's stitched together is really wrong. I do understand that the game is written in a way to be a punch in the gut. You start the game and basically in the first or second hour, Joel basically gets unalived by a character you were earlier playing as and later do play as. But the problem is that the game is stitched in a way it kind of forces us to empathize with a character that unalived our favorite character. It would have been better if the game tried to show the backstory of Abby earlier before she unalived Joel. This way, the player wouldn't really have an extreme hatred for the character Abby or the developers. Unfortunately, this didn't happen, and instead of the player being empathized with the story of Abby, they absolutely hated her. And that's really interesting because I personally think that Abby is one of the strong parts of the game. She has more depth and is a better character than Ellie. Ellie in Last of Us Part 2 is just annoying. There are multiple examples of her, especially the part where she's with Jesse and she has to choose between the boat and Tommy. Neil Druckmann also said before the release of Last of Us Part 2 that they are going to absolutely handle Ellie and Joel, especially these characters, with care, and they would not pretty much try to disrespect these characters in any way. But in the starting 2 hours of the game, we really don't have a breathing room with Joel. Another problem with the writing is the influence of intimate scenes. I did talk about this in my last video, but again, I'll just repeat it. In the game, we are shown intimate scenes to basically explore the intimate relationship of both protagonists, Abby and Ellie. Okay, I understand you want to delve deeper into the relationship aspect of both characters, but how about we do not start with intimate scenes? It just means that you're a bad writer and you can't think of anything else. There are much better ways to develop such things like this, but intimate scenes is not the way to go. I do think that this is Neil Druckmann's kink though, and in some ways it does make sense. Jarvis, do an early life check. If you know, you know. Intimate scenes like this have no places in mediums of entertainment such as games, movies, and stuff like this. If you want to see something like this or show to an audience like this, there are a lot of websites you can basically create stuff and show stuff for that audience. Then there are the characters. In my last video, I didn't really delve deeper into this, so we are going to delve deeper. I personally think that a lot of characters were done wrong in this game. Characters such as Dina, the only purpose of her to exist in the game is because she's Ellie's girlfriend. She does accompany Ellie in the Seattle section of the game, although she is also as annoying as Ellie and her lines are boring, especially in that guitar part. It's a beautiful moment when Ellie picks up the guitar and starts singing, but then Dina comes and she starts getting intimate.
You should have kissed me then.
Then there's Jesse. He is a cool character, but I really don't like how they handled him. Jesse also accompanies Ellie in the Seattle section of the game, but not for too long because he then gets unalived by Abby in the theater. After that, Jesse is never mentioned in the game and is basically considered an afterthought. That is really bad because Jesse is one of the main friendly characters to Ellie. The same rule kind of applies to Abby in a way. She really doesn't mention Joel after unaliving him. The only time she really references Joel is talking about coming from Jackson, or that Isaac really agreed with how Joel needed to go out. Manny and Oven are pretty great characters. No problem with them, but then there's Mel. She really doesn't have a purpose in the story. Basically just that her entire purpose in the game is to basically be part of Abby's friend group, so she can be unalived by Ellie later on. Nora is alright. She does help Abby out and plays a crucial role in the story in some aspects. Tommy in the game, like I said in my last video, was one of the best parts of Last of Us Part 2. Although I did not really like how Tommy is in the ending of basically he goes to Ellie and basically tells him that I can't go anymore and you have to go. Tommy would actually never do that if he cares about Ellie. He would put his life in danger before talking to Ellie about. Another character was Isaac. I think he had a lot of potential, but he didn't really have that much of a screen time. So I do think that Neil Druckmann didn't really take advantage of most of these characters. Well, to come to a conclusion, I do think now that Last of Us Part 2 is a good game, but also a disappointing game, because there was really no one at Naughty Dog to keep Neil's ideas in check. An example is that during the development of Last of Us Part 2, every scene had to be seen and approved by Neil. If he was busy with something, that scene would have to wait until he can come and see the scene and approve it. So this basically dwindles around and comes to an idea that a lot of the bad ideas from Neil just got in and no one could pretty much stop it. Neil Druckmann has some really good ideas, but he has a lot of bad ones and he needs someone to keep those in check. Well, that is it for today, guys. Hope you guys found this video interesting. If you did, consider subscribing. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching and goodbye.